Middle School, and welcome to the February edition of What's New in the Library. February, as some of you probably know, is Black History Month all across the United States of America. And sadly, it shouldn't just be a month that we celebrate the contributions of African Americans in the history of this country. We should celebrate it all year round. But I thought we would go ahead and highlight some African American authors and literature about the journey of being an African American in the United States of America. So first we're going to start out with two of my favorite African American authors. The first one is Jason Reynolds, and he writes one of my favorite books ever called Long Way Down. But I'm going to tell you about Ghost really quick. Ghost is the story of a runner. He's a track star, and he runs on a track team, and it's a book in a series, actually. There's another one called Lou, and there's 4 books in the series. Here's a picture of them. And so all of the books revolve around a runner on the track team and kind of understanding their journey, what their life is like. It's just a fascinating book about a kid who really wants to belong, and track is what helps him get there. So if you don't know who Jason Reynolds is, I highly recommend his books. His writing style is amazing. The next author I want to talk about his name is Kwame Alexander, and I love him as an author. He wrote the book Crossover, which was really popular last year, about basketball. It's a novel in verse, so it's told in poetry. Today I'm also going to talk to you about Booked, which is a book he wrote about soccer. That's a novel in verse. And it's about a young boy who's struggling with problems at home and bullying and all kinds of issues. And he kind of finds his peace in soccer, a rapping librarian, and some really good books. So I really like this one. It's called Booked. He also wrote a book that's not in the sports section called He Said, She Said. This one's in realistic fiction. And it's the story of a boy and a girl who are a very unlikely romantic combination until they both become involved in a huge social protest. And they learn that maybe having different backgrounds and being very different doesn't make them all that different after all. That's Jason Reynolds. He is an amazing author. The last one I want to talk to you about this month is called 5,000 Miles to Freedom. And this is actually in our narrative nonfiction section, meaning it's totally true. So it's the story of Ellen and William Craft, and they were slaves who escaped 1,000 miles from Georgia to the north to live in freedom, to have freedom, and then risked their lives going back multiple times and became super famous abolitionists, which are individuals who fought to end slavery. Super short, quick read, lots of great illustrations. You can see kind of what it was like at that time, and it's narrative nonfiction, so it's actually written in a very readable style. So if you're interested in this, in the anti-slavery movement of the mid-1800s, check out 5,000 Miles to Freedom. We're going to hear from a 5th grader now and see what she liked reading this month.
My book is A Child Called It. A Child Called It is a very emotional text in my opinion. It's about a kid who gets abused by his mother, and in the book, he goes through a rough journey. You should definitely read it because I hope you like it as much as I did. And when you read it, let me know.
New this month in graphic novels, we have the Unicorn and Phoebe and Her Unicorn series. In action adventure, we got in Diary of an 8-Bit Warrior, the new Alan Gratz book, Grenade, and some Minecraft and Fortnite books. In science fiction, we got in Arch Enemies, Wild Card, and the newest Joey Graceffa book, Rebels of Eden. In realistic fiction, we got in The Reckless Cub, Blended, and Harbor Me, as well as Checked. This one looks to be funny. In comedy, we got a new Carl Hiaasen book, Squirm. In mystery, we got in the Alcatraz Escape in the Book Scavenger series. In sports, we got in the newest Track book in Jason Reynolds series. This one's Lou. Nonfiction, we got Star Talk Basics, The Universe. In our interactive nonfiction, we got in The Berlin Wall, The Oregon Trail, Ancient China, Battle of the Alamo, Ancient Egypt, Child Labor, and Golden Age of Pirates. Well, BMS, that's the end of the February edition of What's New in the Library. I have a challenge for all of you this month. This month, I want you to read a book by an African American author. Reach out of your normal box, find an author with an African American background, and read a book by them. See if there's something you're missing in diverse literature. Everybody have a great month.